Grand Rising. Good day. And good night. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome. I didn't even think about which name of God I'm going to do. We're going to do El Sadiq's channel. I think we've done that before, but oh well. Welcome to 144 from the Stars Tarot. Sometimes I get so excited to just sit down and do the message that I forget that there's other parts of the message, like totems. I didn't even figure out what totem we're going to do. So we're going to do spur of the moment. It's going to be a moon jelly. We picked out the name of God on the spur of the moment at the top of my head, El Sadiq. You can find that name of God in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 21, and it translates to righteous God. All right, let's go ahead and give Odin a treat. There you are. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you all. Let's go ahead and get started with some word, and then we'll get started with this message. I'm going to read from the book 1 Kings. I'm going to be reading from chapter 8. Ooh, a karmic number. I also saw 321 right before I recorded this. So 8 and 321. It's a countdown, y'all. We're going to start at verse 31. We're going to read verse 32. We're going to skip 33 and 34. And then we're going to read 35 and 36. We ain't got to skip it. I mean, we could read it, but it's okay. I guess I'll read it just so people don't think that there's manipulation out here. There's not. I just wanted to keep it quick and concise, but it's fine. Whatever. We'll read 31 through 36. It's 5 verses. If any man trespass against his neighbor, and an oath be laid upon him to cause him to swear, and the oath come before your altar in this house, then hear you in heaven and do. And judge your servants, condemning the wicked, to bring his way upon his head, and justifying the righteous, to give him according to his righteousness. When your people, Yashar be smitten down before the enemy, because they have sinned against you, and shall turn again to you, and confess your name, and pray, and make supplication to you in this house, then hear you in heaven, and forgive the sin of your people, Yashar, and bring them again to the land which you gave to their fathers. And when heaven is shut up, and there is no rain, because they have sinned against you, if they pray toward this place and confess your name, and turn from their sin when you afflict them, then hear you in heaven, and forgive the sin of your servants, and of your people, Yashar, that you teach them the good way wherein they should walk, and give rain upon your land which you have given to your people for an inheritance. All right. So the reason why I was going to skip 2 verses because they just didn't necessarily resonate with this message. Because what I understand from this message was that you guys have not been sinning. You haven't been in any kind of judgment. God has judged you, but God has judged you according to your righteousness. And someone has came against you, right? And that has basically came before your altar, your house, or your body, or however you want to perceive that altar resonating with you. And, if your enemy were to repent and say, I'm sorry for attacking this person, I repent for the evil in my heart, then, great, awesome. But I don't think that's going to be the case. And if we were to read a little further, then it was talking about famines and pestilence and locusts and all sorts of things coming upon the land as, according to God's judgment. So basically what I feel in this message is that someone is getting their judgment. They're getting their karma. They have tried to delay it, to stop it, to block it. At the same time, let me try to do the same things to you moving forward. So they wanted to delay, stop, and block you receiving your abundance, your blessings, your prosperity, your inheritance, your silver, your gold, your love, your happiness, your peace, your time, your joy, whatever. They don't want you to fucking have it. And then they wanted to delay, stop, and block their judgment, their famine, their fears, their all of that stuff, the karma, the stuff that's coming right back and smacking them in the face, as it should. All right, we got all that out. Cool. Moon jelly, y'all. And God of righteousness. Righteous God. Righteous God. Let's find out. What would you like the collective to know? Okay. All right. Yeah, I saw that, and then that was the best card for that to pop out right afterwards. Yeah, 5 of Wands. I bet. So I saw the 4 of Pentacles, and then the Fool card came out reverse, and then 5 of Wands. There's that 4 of Pentacles again. Sweet. Let's talk about it. Wheel of Fortune, the Devil, and the Magician. Well, so someone is trying to hold. Remember that dynamic of energy? They want to hold you back so that way they can push back. It's a dynamic of energy, right? If I can stop this here, then I can block this here, and then I can live off your abundance and energy, and I don't have to get my judgment and karma yet. I can delay it. All right. Well, even if you are on the run, like if I'm gonna break this down to like earth material reality, right? Even if you're on the run and you avoid going to jail or getting arrested or going to prison or whatever, you avoid incarceration. At some point in time, that is going to catch up to you. And then you're going to have to do even more time because now you're facing more charges. So, and I know some of you, yeah, but what if they run away and they never get it? They answer to God. So let's get out that 3D linear sense and understand that everything is energy and God's the judge. Okay, cool. So this person's under judgment, or I really think it's a person, and they might have unclean spirits attached to them, whatever. Great. So this is an energy harvester. This is someone that's been attacking you because you're a star. 144 from the stars. Tarot. Thank you for being here. I love you, viewer. So this person's been trying to hold you back. And they feel the devil knocking on their door, and they feel this judgment coming. And they're like, if I can hold back something, I can stop and delay the judgment coming to them. But we've got the full reverse. That might be their intention. That might be their desire. That might be what they want. But hey, shit, life ain't fair. Sometimes we don't get what we want. And in this time, justice is served. And it is quite fair. It's righteous. Okay? This person's getting what they deserve. And if it's famine, if it's pestilence, if it's whatever it is, it's God's judgment. And it's coming onto them pretty thick and heavy. And what I love about this is their energetic defenses. So they had an armor, a barrier to deflect the judgment. And what they were using to build this armor or barrier was light that they stole from other children of God. So they attack stars, they harvest their light and energy, and they use that to build up this like barrier. So that way, when the evil comes to them, it gets sucked up by all this light and they can maintain their little shittiness. Well, you have gained such a strong foot on their neck that they don't have that. All right? You've taken all that shit, every bit of it. All right? Everything they took from you, you took. And everything that they had of others, it's freed up. Okay? So hopefully you are very, humble and righteous, and you gave what isn't yours, and you felt that God wanted you to give that to God so that way God can give that back, or you happen to even be a step ahead and you either have a very increased awareness and authority to where you could actually carry out that judgment yourself and you could give that light back to who they took it from. Whatever, it's a collective reading, so however your micro is in this, you're mastering energy. This is an earth school, and one of the main things that we are here to learn is mastery of energy. That's why it's dense. That's why there's emotions. That's why it's crazy. All right. It's a matrix kind of reality. And it is what it is. So They getting it. They're not getting what they want. They're in this uphill battle. They're basically up Shit's Creek without a paddle, and they've got a storm coming for them. And they don't have any harvested light from beings of God to protect themselves from this judgment. So it's going to hit them like a ton of bricks, like baseball sized hail. You could say that the angels in heaven are swinging their baseball bats, and then, this icy cold judgment is cracking them upside the head, spiritually speaking. So, they're getting what they deserve. Moon jellies, you can touch. You can pick them up. I don't know if you knew that, but they won't sting you. You can, depending on where you touch them, for the most part, there's no way of them affecting you. You can touch moon jellies, okay? At least I've never touched a moon jelly and it's not anything to me, right? So the enemy, seeing that you reflect the light of the divine, and you're this beautiful, graceful creature, and they thought that they could take from you, they could cut you up. Do you know moon jellies have 4 brains? Interesting, right? Anyways, they thought that they could, like you were like a starfish. They were like, yeah, I could just cut you in half and you can go on bloop, bloop, bloop about your way. And I can just take the other half and eat that, right? And that'd be me now. That'd be my light. And then I'd be like, whatever they thought, okay? And they thought that there wasn't going to be a sting. Well, they're realizing otherwise. And that this is going to hurt really bad. Because it's not just you that they've been doing this to you. What they've been doing to you, it's not just you they've been doing it to. Been doing it to a lot of people. And you have freed a lot of people too, which I appreciate. I'm going to use like a personal testimony. I have had people throughout my journey spiritually attack me. And some of them are practitioners of things and they use it in ways that they shouldn't. And I have, gained a leg up on them before. And then they just stop attacking me for a while. And then all of a sudden, like months later, they pop back up. And it's like they get their ass handed to them. And then they like go into hiding. And then they go and they like try to harvest energy from other places to build up energy to then come back and try to pick another fight with me. Unfortunately for them, by that time, I've ascended and grown even more and, whatever. So fortunately for you, collective, what I'm sensing is you're a little further in your journey than that given testimony I just gave of my personal experiences in the past. And you are at a point to where they're not going to get up. They're not going to come back. They're not going to get another source of light and energy. You've cut them off. They're bound and cut off. This may not resonate for everyone, but for someone, it does. And I've given some recent readings. It was before I left out of town and stuff, so I just got back. So if I was absent for a couple days or whatever, excuse me, I was out of town. But I remember that there was a reading I gave, and the theme was something along the lines of like, you are a real one. And there is someone in the collective to where you are getting really good at what you do. The best, even, definitely better than these devil energies. That's why he's showing up as double emperor with high priestess. I thought that was another high priestess. I about had like a heart attack. It's strength with Queen of Cups. So you may have water in your chart. You may have some interesting Scorpio placements. That would be humorous. They tried it with you. Oh, there's that 8 number again. Oh, 838, actually. I think I had even mentioned palindromes in a recent energy. Well, here they are. Here's a palindrome coming out, 838. Oh, here's another water sign. So we've got King of Cups, Queen of Cups, 2 emperors, and High Priestess. And that's pretty much just to describe how you were able to bring this judgment and you're receiving. So someone is thinking that if they find a way to hold you back or hold something or push something that they can resist and stop what's coming, but they can't. You have gotten so advanced in your gifts and abilities, and you are so crafty and skilled at spiritual combat at this point that they're fucked. That's why they're stuck. Hang one and the devil energy. This judgment from spirit is coming from them. And for some of you, spirits are coming from them, and they can't even defend themselves from that either. So they're caught in the storm of Schitt's Creek without a paddle. They have no defenses. They don't have another source of strength. You are the strength. You've cut them off. They're a little tick or a parasite. And the only way that they can have anything is if they take it from somewhere else. Well, you've got your foot on their fucking neck. So where are they going to get it from? Because they ain't getting it from your foot. And they ain't getting it from the ground underneath their face. So they're kind of fucked. They're stuck. And I don't know why this person is still like not realizing like their best thing would probably be to just brace for impact. But no, they're trying to figure out a way to slither out from underneath your foot and bite you in the ankle. They're not going to. A38, you're bringing this judgment. Karma is coming upon them. And it's because you balance the scales. All right. Libra energy, Aries energy, Scorpio energy. Okay, all right, that's cool. It's fun, regardless. Is that? Yeah, okay, all right. Page of Wands. But what was interesting was I really felt Queen of Wands in this Page of Wands. And I feel like there has been a journey for you. You have grown spiritually and you have mastered energy. You have mastered, you're on a new level. And whoever this devil energy is now beneath you. They're underneath you. They are very much underneath you. And you have the whip. You have the control. You have the chains. It's not so fun when the rabbit's got the gun, right? Well, the devil's going to get it. This person that has been attacking you and others, you are delivering and executing the judgment of God upon them. That's pretty scary. I know some people think that the judgment of God always is executed by God himself. And in a way, yes, but it's also through his children. So God is the judge. El is the judge. But then there's Elohim. There's angels. There's, I don't need to get into all of it. And if you're interested in this being broken down further, Nerd of the Word will be brought up, soon. Okay. Very soon. And you should check it out. So regardless, you're the emperor. You have realized your strength, your power, and authority. And you may have even gained some new abilities. And I can look, some of you, I'm curious. Some of you that have been subscribed to this channel for a while, and you have been watching my content and watching, maybe even observing a little bit of my journey in just 2 years. Have you noticed that I have different gifts and abilities now than I did in the past? Well, I'm going to be honest with you on how I gained some of those. Spiritual warfare. I'm not kidding. By the grace, mercy, and judgment and will of God, I have been strengthened by my enemies. Now, I'll give an example, a specific example. Okay. An entity that became my enemy and had many different bodies and hosts that through their free will, they made dumb decisions and now they're the little pawn of this entity. And this entity really pissed me off because it just went way below the belt. And basically the way that ended was every bit of light that entity had ever harvested, ever, up till now, in this present moment, through any of its hosts, through any of its inhabitants, through any of its whatever. So there's certain things that feed off of things, and when they feed off of certain energies, they grow and they gain strength. Okay. Well, I received all of that. All of the light that entity had ever harvested. It was through a rage petition to God and some other acts of that doesn't need to be expressed. But the long story short is I gained all the light that entity had harvested through all its inhabitants and hosts. And basically the way that petition worked was, God, I'm going to summarize it real quick. You have had children that by their own free will have failed you. They have chosen what they've chosen and they have fallen. And now an entity has, what is yours, God? Light. This entity has your light, God, that it took from your children who by their own free will have failed to do your statutes according to your righteousness. Now, this entity is using your inheritance to not only hurt me, hurt my family, but hurt others. I've had enough. May I have their light instead. You know I would use it accordingly. There were some acts involved with this faith and this prayer. And long story short, I gained a lot of light and energy. And I'm using this as an example, y'all, so that way you understand that the energy that's coming through in this reading is real and can happen. And someone in the collective is doing something very similar. If not, maybe the same thing, maybe in different ways, okay? It's a collective reading. But what I'm getting is that you are being strengthened by your enemies and you have gained new abilities. You've gained more light. You've literally gained light that was harvested from other other means. And you are using it righteously. And you have grown very strong. And this entity or this spirit or this person, whatever your enemy or opposition is now pretty much permanently under your foot. You could sink the claws into its throat if need be, and it's going to get this judgment. So basically, you're restraining it and arresting it in the name of God. And it's receiving the full force and brunt of God's judgment. And some of you are even actually vessels of the deliverance of that judgment by God. Does that make sense? So just like when God is the judge, Archangel Gabriel will receive that because it's an angel of God, a creation of God, and a ray of the will and light of God. Will then sound the trumpet of this judgment. Will deliver the message, if however the deliverance of this judgment from God needs to be. I'm just breaking an example so people can understand how people, vessels, children of God can literally deliver and execute the will of God, right? So Gabriel will be the messenger and sound the horn and the trumpet. Now, that horn and trumpet may also signify, I don't know, maybe someone like Archangel Michael, who leads the army of God. Okay, you see where this is going. And then now part of that judgment from God is probably involving, some like conquering and sword and, maybe something being casted down or, whatever it is. It's not Michael's judgment. It's God's judgment, right? Michael's just doing what God created him to do. Then there's other angels that part of that judgment may be to comfort and uplift and heal those that were affected by the perpetuator of this evil by their own free will that went against God. You guys are starting to understand how like the heavenly council and the elected ones, how it all is this divine orchestration. Well, collective, I am sensing that you are a high-ranked anointed being of our Elohim, and you are gaining in rank, in strength, and in number. Your enemy is fucked, and they're getting it full brunt of this, and they can't take from another child of God because you've cut them off. You've cut off their supply. You have spiritually arrested them, and they are detained under your foot. And they are bound to this judgment. They can't escape it. So they can think whatever they want. It's literally not going to happen. Now, also part of this judgment, and you aren't the deliverer of this part of God's judgment, but you are a beneficiary of this judgment, is this Ace of Pentacles. This 838. There's something that needs to be balanced out, and what goes around comes around. And someone has done a real good job at standing in between the intersection of the figure 8 and just kind of putting both hands out. Like, no, stop. We're going to stop this energy. But like, time is relative. That's an experience. Collapse, judgment happens. they're not that strong. They're caught between a rock and a hard place. Okay, so they get crushed by the energy that has built up and built up and built up, and the energy's got to move around the figure eight. So even if they tried to stand where it kind of makes this X and be like, I'm gonna stop this energy from flowing, and I'm gonna cause a buildup, or I'm gonna build a dam, and no one else below me down the mountain or the valley is gonna get any water, and I'm gonna keep all the water to myself. That's only gonna last but so long. Okay, so their time is coming. Now you're receiving. Ace of Pentacles, you're receiving, and so are others. So those that you have freed up are also receiving this Ace of Pentacles. This Ace of Pentacles is very big. It's rain. All right. It's water. It's love. It's spirit. Now, what does water do when it falls from the heavens? Or do? Punny. Anyways, it can grow. It can cause things to grow. So if you have been in Five of Pentacles, like material or financial lack, provisional lack, whatever it may be, this rain to confirm God's inheritance in your life and others, because you have executed a portion of God's will in judgment, because you are an angel here on earth on a mission, and you are awakening to your gifts and abilities and gaining new ones off of your enemies and increasing your light and ascending and expanding and growing even closer to God throughout all of this. Congratulations, you collective. You now have a pretty big confirmation of spiritual inheritance coming your way. And there are others that are also righteously so benefiting from this according to God's will. Ain't that great? Congratulations. You're a hero. You really are. It's not easy for people to come to Earth realm and do the will of God. Not everyone does. I know, like it should be easy, but there's some trials and tribulations. And on the level that you did it masterfully. So of course you're gonna gain. Of course. God's gonna increase you, magnify your greatness. Magnify, multiply, increase. These are all words extremely relevant to this energy. You are receiving a magnification and an increase of your greatness. You are being glorified by God for His glory. Yeah, it's like that. So, maybe before you were this warrior healer or whatever, and you had gifts and abilities up till this point. Well, I don't know. Think of it like in a video game, right? Where you beat a boss, like a big boss or whatever. You have whatever gifts and abilities or weapons or whatever it is up till that point of defeating that boss. After you defeat that boss, you usually gain some loot or some experience or new abilities or stronger weapons, stronger armor. You get stronger in the game, and then you move on to the next boss. Well, you just completed a pretty big boss, all right? And you've gained a lot. Your armor has increased. Your weapons have increased. Your strength and your experience, your gifts and your abilities have all increased. You have a much more powerful third eye and crown. And you have supernatural gifts and abilities that you may not have fully tapped into or found yet. Yeah, it's going to be different. Before, you may have been able to have experienced being victimized by evil practitioners using things against you and it actually taking effect. This was, I know it might have seemed cruel. It might have been like, God, why is this happening to me? But no, nothing will come upon you that you aren't made for, you aren't meant for. And God knew you could overcome this. God chose you for this. You are here on a mission, and you just completed a boss on your mission, and you leveled up. Congratulations. That's why Emperor came out twice. That's why King and Queen of Cups came out with the double Emperor and the 838. Y'all, I don't know if this is fully making sense, but basically you're ascending and you're very strong. You're strong, and you are so strong that you freed others, you balance the scales, you're receiving, you deliver God's judgment, and you just increase your gifts and abilities. All in one go. All with one act of God through you as a vessel. I'm glad you're here. We need more people like you, collective. This is how we make the world a better place. Look, hang one is stuck. The devil is stuck in this hang one energy. And they're going to receive this tower, this closing of a cycle, this judgment. And you are the deliverer, the executioner of God's will. Not yours, God's. You have the anointing and the authority given to you by God to do so. And you just got even stronger and you're gaining even more abilities. Like literally, you are very powerful. Okay, with the strength and the fire, the Knight of Fire, the Three of Pentacles, something is growing for you. Spiritually, energetically, in the material, physically, something is growing. And whoever you were conquering and is now conquered previously saw signs of this and it panicked them and they were in fear and they were trying to strategize away. How can I stop this person? How can I put them back on a path where I am gaining control over them? They failed and it's too late. They've already lost their head. Okay? And we took all their abundance, all their wealth, all their energy, and it was distributed amongst the Kodashim accordingly. And bet your ass you got a pretty good portion of it because you're the one that's slain the damn thing. It's God's judgment. I know some people are like, we won't ascend into new earth energy until everything is light and love and peaceful. And like, yes, in many ways that is true, but we got to get there. We can't sit here and just act like evil doesn't exist and that there aren't evil people on earth. There are. So like, the people that like are just stuck in this limited perspective, I want to ask you a question. Okay. Do you think Archangel Michael has nothing to do with us ascending? Do you think Archangel Michael has nothing to do with New Earth? Has nothing to do with Earth being what it has been and then turning into the new 5D Earth? Do you think Archangel Michael has no role at all in that transition of energy? The angel of God's army. Do you not think there is maybe some kind of battle to get us there? Do you not think that maybe there is a judgment on the evil that is present in this world in order to get us there? Okay, then don't plant seeds of doubt in the children of God that are here as part of God's army. All of the 144,000 work with Archangel Michael. Okay? Why do you think he's so favored amongst many of the chosen ones? Because he's either our dad or he's our boss, our leader under God. I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand, but like newsflash, we're here on a mission. Earth Angel, activate. All right? And you did. And you just gained even more strength and power. We are rising. So hold up that sword high and let it reflect the light of the sun. All right, y'all. I see you. You're doing things. You're doing things. I'm going to go ahead and leave this reading here right at 33 minutes. Wow. Okay. If you like the way that I read, please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you, and I will see you on the next collective message.